Hi, welcome back to the channel. I'm Michelle, and today I'm going to be talking about struggles with celiac disease. So if you're new here, my youngest daughter, my 6-year-old, has celiac disease. She was diagnosed at 3.5, so we have been almost 3.5 years gluten-free, family of 5. And I like to share on my channel a lot about celiac disease, about gluten-free living, because there's not a lot of information out there, especially when you have younger children. So that's one of the main things of my channel, is really advocating and informing about celiac disease and our experience. And occasionally I like to share these struggle videos, things that are particularly difficult for us along our journey. And we're here. I want to share something that's been difficult, actually 2 things that's been difficult lately. So one of them is medical expenses, and one of them is food cost. So I'll start with the food cost one first. So obviously a lot of families are feeling the hit of the grocery budget, that prices are going up. There's no debating that, and it's expensive. And when you have someone with celiac disease and food is the only treatment for celiac disease, it can be really difficult. And I always get people that say, fruits and vegetables are gluten-free, stick to those things, you don't have to buy the pre-made stuff. And I get that, okay? But keep in mind that feeding 3 kids fruit isn't exactly cheap. My kids will go through a pint of strawberries in a day. Our fruit and veggie budget isn't exactly low, so that's not saving a ton of money because they go through fruits and veggies just as crazy as they do the pre-made stuff. So I want to put that out there because I do often get the suggestions, well, stick to your produce, that's gluten-free, and that's great, but they fly through it, and that's an expense too. But specifically, I want to talk about bread. So we haven't bought pre-made bread in probably 1.5 years. I have started making my own bread. I'll link up above the recipe I use and the flour I use. And we've tried multiple flours over the years. We've tried Walmart, we've tried the Costco, the bulk flour. We've tried Bob's 1-to-1. We've tried many different flours. And here's the problem. A lot of the flours, although they work for my daughter with celiac disease, for the rest of us in the family, 3 out of the 5 of us, the flour doesn't agree with our stomachs. It makes us bloat, gassy, feel not great. So I don't know what specific ingredient is in those things that's causing those issues, but I'm not going to buy flour that 3 of the 5 people in my family can't eat, but 1 out of the 5 people can. So that eliminates a lot of those cost-saving options. So luckily I did find a flour that worked for everyone in my family. And that flour is Pamela's, and it's been great. I've been ordering it in bulk for the last 1.5 years. I buy a 25-pound bag of flour. I buy the bread and all-purpose, and it's worked great. I usually make a loaf of bread about probably every other day or maybe every 2 days. So we're going through at least 3 loaves of bread a week, and my kids really enjoy toast. They enjoy peanut butter and jelly. They enjoy sandwiches. They enjoy French toast. They enjoy those things you would normally get from bread. So I'm not going to eliminate that because let's face it, we've eliminated a ton of things because of my daughter's celiac disease. I'm not looking to eliminate more. If I can adapt it, then great. So I had this flour, I was using it, we use it for pancakes, waffles, all that stuff, and it was working great. So recently we were getting low on it, so I was like, oh, I need to order it again. Now normally I go to Pamela's, the manufacturer's website, and order it there. That's the cheapest I found it. And for a 25-pound bag that'll last 1.5 months, it cost me $70, which again is completely doable. If you look at the price of pre-made bread, it's between $6 and $7 for this tiny little loaf that won't even feed my entire family. One of the reasons I switched to making my own bread, and not to mention, gluten-free bread is gross. I'm completely honest here. It dissolves in your mouth. We've tried multiple brands. It's not great. Homemade gluten-free bread is significantly better. So I went to order it on Pamela's, and they have now ended the option of having the bulk bags shipped for free. It used to be anything over, I think, $50 was shipped for free. And again, the flour itself, I think, was like $69 or something like that. So I would end up with tax paying a little over $70. So I was like, okay, well, let's see how much shipping is. Shipping is $35 to ship a 25-pound bag of flour. I get it, it's probably by weight. But we're looking at what I used to spend $70 every 1.5 months on flour to now spending $105 every 1.5 months. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I can find it cheaper somewhere else. So I looked at Amazon, Vitacost, all those other options. And Amazon does sell it in bulk, the 25-pound bag, but again, for $100. So $5 cheaper than a manufacturer, but it's still $100. So you're talking $30 more a month I'm adding to my grocery budget just to provide bread, flour to my family. And I'll be completely honest, it made me really mad, it made me really irritated, it made me really frustrated. Because yes, could we eliminate bread? I've seen people talk about celiac disease, I just eliminate that. That's not a possibility for my family. Like I said, I'm not eliminating pancakes, waffles, peanut butter and jelly. I'm not doing that. We've done enough. And I feel like in this country particularly, things like celiac disease or food allergies and autoimmune conditions are seen as it's your problem. You deal with it, and the cost is put on the consumer. And it's really frustrating because my daughter's condition, there's no treatment for. The only treatment for celiac disease is a gluten-free diet. And the only way I can do that is buying gluten-free things that are naturally gluten-free or buying gluten-free products. Those things are significantly more expensive and it's not fair. So for example, I've read how other countries deal with celiac disease. And Italy, they issue a voucher, a food voucher to help supplement because gluten-free food is naturally more expensive, usually because of the manufacturing processes that have to be overseen and things like that. I get where the added cost comes from, I really do. But they'll give you a food voucher because they recognize that it's a medical condition and your only treatment is this type of food. But in this country, it's the complete opposite. It's your problem, you deal with it. And I'm so sick of it. I'm so irritated with it. So I looked at different flour options. Now I can get the smaller pound bags. I can get the 4-pound bags. But again, that will probably last us maybe a week and a half with the amount of flour we go through. And the funny thing is, I'm making everything from scratch. Everyone's like, oh, save your money, make things from scratch, stop buying pre-made. I'm trying to do that, I really am. But now my source of getting things to make those homemade items, I can't get at a cheap price or even a decent price anymore. So I have to add between $30 to $40 to my monthly grocery budget just to provide flour for my family. And it's ridiculous and it's really irritating. So that's one of the struggles I'm dealing with. So I bought the 4-pound bags and it cost more because again, it's not in bulk. So I think it cost me $20 to $25 more and I didn't get the same amount I normally do. So it's gonna be a higher cost to me than if I had gotten what I previously got. It'd be a higher cost to me if I bought the 25-pound bag that I normally got. It'd be a higher cost to me to get the pre-made bread that tastes gross. So those are my options. Those are my options. And like I said, the one I went with is I bought the 4-pound bags and just ate the $25 extra cost that I normally wouldn't pay. And it sucks. It really does suck because it's a medical condition and it's not right. The other thing we've been dealing with is medical expenses. So this of course varies depending on where you live. So I live in I wouldn't say rural area. I think the population is about 19,000 people, so it's not like the country, but we live in an area that doesn't have a lot of options. We have 3 grocery stores and one of those includes Walmart. We have one local hospital that claims to be non-for-profit, but I'll get into that in a minute. So my daughter sees a pediatric GI specialist twice a year. And we have to drive 2 hours to see this doctor because again, we live in an area where those things aren't available. We have to drive over an hour to go to Costco or any large department stores, Target, anything like that. It's not locally near me, which another struggle when you have celiac disease, not having options locally. But anyway, so she had her recent 6-month appointment and checkup. And normally what we do is she has blood work done before that. So they look for nutritional deficiencies. They also run a autoimmune antibody test to see her exposure level to gluten. Because that obviously, there are things such as silent celiac disease where you're not experiencing physical symptoms, but the damage could be done to your body, your intestine, the lining of your intestines, and you may not be aware of it. So they want to make sure, especially because she's young and growing, that she's getting all the nutrients that she needs. So they routinely do an antibody test on her, and that just measures the type of where her antibody levels lie. And if it's high, it means she's obviously being exposed to some amount of gluten. If it's in the normal range, then we're doing fine. So I do like having that anchor point. But the problem with this is when I go to my local hospital, doctor's office, that's the only thing out here within 45 minutes, to get this blood test done that she gets done twice a year, they charge my insurance company $800 for this antibody test. So we end up paying about $200 out of pocket, and yes, we have insurance, we have good insurance, but this hospital claims to be non-for-profit, but they're charging so much over what's allowed from the insurance company that that's where we get the $200 bill. And I had in the past just kind of accepted it that that's what it is, but this past time she got her blood work done 2 hours away at the actual doctor's office, and right after her appointment, and I was like, okay, we'll see what the bill says for that. And wouldn't you know, I got the bill 2 days ago, and they charged the insurance company $68 to run her antibody test. We paid it $2 out of pocket. So the hospital near me charges $800. We pay $200 after insurance. This hospital, which obviously is a much larger area, has a lot of different options. Multiple hospitals charge $68, and we pay $2 after insurance. That is ridiculous. The access to good quality health care that isn't costing you literally an arm and a leg is ridiculous. My daughter has to have these doctor's appointments. She has to have this blood work to make sure her body is growing and getting the things she needs, and is absolutely ridiculous. Maybe, and the fact that this is with insurance, can you imagine how much it would cost my family to go to the nearest doctor's office to get blood work for my daughter who has an autoimmune condition, and we can't afford it? And you see that a lot. In our homeschool, we do different social justice issues that we learn about. One of them was food insecurity. My kids, when learning about that, wanted to know, well, what happens if you have a food allergy or an autoimmune condition? How does that affect food insecurity? And there's a big need of allergy-friendly, autoimmune-friendly food out there. There are situations where I've read online where parents have to make the decision of whether or not to buy the gluten-free food for their child that needs it, or food that the entire family can eat. And that is honestly really wrong, that somebody has to make that decision whether or not they can feed their family. It upsets me, it makes me angry, it makes me sad, it makes me all these things, because it's not her fault that she has this condition. It's a medical condition, but our society, again, points the finger back at you and says, it's your problem, you deal with it, instead of making some room for society to be accepting to those people that are different. So that is what I've been struggling with the last couple days. And I'll be completely honest, it made me super angry for about 3 days straight, because I feel like she's getting treated poorly just because of a medical condition. I know this happens to a lot of people, but it's not fair. And again, social justice is something we talk about a lot in our home. And this is an injustice, both in the medical community and how that works, and both as how society views people with allergies or autoimmune conditions, and how, well, it's your fault, or don't buy the allergy-friendly food, that you can figure it out, that it's all on you. And there's just not a lot of acceptance, or frankly any knowledge or information put out there about these people and these families who struggle just to put food on their table that their child can eat and grow from, or as an individual that you can eat and grow from. So it's just been really frustrating. I wanted to share this video to share that frustration, that you're not alone if you're feeling that frustration, that if you're getting the comments, well, eat fruits and vegetables, that's not good enough, that we need more action done than just eat produce and your kids will be fine, okay? They need more than that. They do. And they should have reasonable access to that in both healthcare, food prices, food availability. It's what is right, and it needs to be changed. So if you're feeling that crunch of grocery bills, if you're feeling that crunch of medical bills, I feel you. I'm there. I get it. And it's not right. So if you have any specific questions about the things I talked about, leave them in the comments below. If not, thank you for watching.